Okay, can we please look at this question from the Pumalanga question paper? This is analytical geometry, right? So in the diagram, okay, we are given A, B, and C, and we can see the points of triangle ABC. Point D is shown in the diagram. BD is perpendicular. We can see by that 90 degrees. I'm not going to waste time on explaining that. And then they say that N is the x-intercept of BC. So if N is the x-intercept, the coordinates of N, x-intercept if y is 0. So we don't know the x value, but the y we know that it's 0 for that coordinate of N. Let's answer the following question. If the gradient of BC is 1 over 3 and the gradient of AC is 3, calculate the following. Okay, so the first question, they want you to find the x coordinate of N. And then now, let's say you don't know how to do this, right? Okay, let's say, uh, let me just do something like this. They want the x coordinate of N, and then look at N, where it's N. Why? Look at the if statement. So I'm going to refer on the if statement. What am I given? The gradient. So look at N. It's on the line BC. So N, I'm going to say the point C and B. Those are collinear points. So we know that collinear points are the points that are on the same line. So these are collinear points. So collinear points have equal gradients. So if I'm given BC as 1 over 3, this tells me that the gradient of BC is equals to the gradient of what? I can say the gradient of NC. It's equal to the gradient of NC, right? So which is just 1 over 3. They will have equal gradient. That's the information that I need to use to calculate the x coordinate of N. So I can say that the formula for gradient of NC, the formula for gradient of NC is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and this is just 1 over 3. So let me write down my coordinates so that you can remember what I'm working on. So I know that my n is going to be x and 0, and then my b, oh, it's c, and then I'm looking for the gradient of c. This is minus 1 and minus 3. Right, let me name my point. Which one is my point 1? Which one is my point 2? Remember, I said that it's best to put your house in order. So C since comes first before N in letters, I'm going to say this is my x1, this is my y1. So this is my x2, this is my y2. It's up to you which point you want to make your first point. Then I'm going to sub in there. I know that y2, which is 0, I'm going to subtract y1, which is minus 3. I have to put it inside the bracket. And everything is divided by x2. That's x, right? Which is the x coordinate of N. And the question says, find the x coordinate of N. This is what we need to find. Then I'm going to subtract x1, which is negative. So I'm going to put that inside the bracket and equate this to 1 over 3. Then from there, you can just solve for x. You can see that on top is just 3. And then on bottom, you'll have x plus 1. What is this equals to? 1 over 3. So you can just say 3 is equals to, then you we cross multiply. Let's just cross multiply this. So I'm going to say 3 times 3, that's 9. When I'm cross multiply, that's 9. It's equals to x plus 1 times 1, which is just x plus 1. Okay, then I'm going to say the 1 comes this side, it's 9 minus 1. Therefore, this gives us x to be equals to 8. That's your final answer. So the x coordinate of that, it's 8. Guys, the reason I'm doing this, the long method, is for me to make sure that you understand everything. But in an exam, you don't have much space to write all these steps. Okay, so right. So now this is how you answer that 2 marks. And then the next question, they say that for 5 marks, they want you to find the coordinates of the size of ACB. So if you don't know which angles are they referring to, you're going to move from A to C. So you're going to draw a line from A is that side, to C. Then you draw another line from what? They say A angle CP. Then you're going to draw a line from C to B. The angle that is between those lines is the one that they are looking for. So I'm just going to name my angle maybe alpha. So they are looking for that angle. This is the angle that we need to calculate. Right. So now this is how I'm going to calculate this angle. And then now let's do this. To find that angle, I know that I can calculate this theta as is the angle of inclination, right? This will be the angle of inclination, and I'm going to call this theta 1. That's the angle of inclination. I can find that. Then I'm going to use angles on a straight line to find that angle, and I'm going to call that angle theta 2. Then now I can form another angle of inclination here, right? Another angle of inclination, let's call that theta 3. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but let me just try and write this. Right, so this will be angle theta 3, which will be angle of inclination. Then I note that when I use vertical opposite angles, this angle also will be equal to angle theta 3. So now I'll have angles in this triangle, triangle in triangle ONC. Then I can use the sum of angles to find that angle. So let's take that step by step. Okay, so first thing first, already I need the gradient of what? I need the gradient of AC to find theta 1, which is the angle of inclination. Remember, let me write this down. I'm going to say, to find for this question, what is the question? This is question 2.1.2. So to answer question 2.1.2, for 2.1.2, I need to say the tan of theta 1, which is what I'm looking for. It should be equal to the gradient of AC. That's how you find the angle of inclination. And the gradient of AC on the if statement, it was given as 3. So I'm going to sub in that 3 there and say my theta 1 is equal to 3. Then you're going to say, therefore, theta 1 is equal to the tan inverse of that 3 when you isolate theta 1. Then you punch that on the calculator and see what you get. Shift the tan inverse of 3. And this gives us a massive angle, which is 71.57 if I round it off. But I'm not going to round off any angle. So I'm just going to write 71.565 dot dot dot. I only have to write the final answer. So this will be 71. We said this is 71.565 and so on. So I'm not going to round it off. Right. So since I have this, looking at that, I have theta 1, and theta 1, we are saying that theta 1 is what? What is theta 1 equals to? That is 71.565 and so on. Then I'll go to the calculator to find theta 2. Theta 2, it will be 180 degrees you minus theta 1, which is 71.565 and so on. Then you give them a reason, angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. Right, you give them that reason. Then I'll go back to my calculator. Since I have that on the calculator, I just have to say 180 minus answer. So we avoid rounding off. So if I say 180 minus answer, that gives us 108.43. So it's going to be 108.43. If you round it off, it's just 43, né? So 108.43. That's theta 2. So my theta 2, that's 108.43 degrees. Right, I'm going to write it down here, 108.43 degrees. Now, what is the aim now? Is to find theta 3. You see, we're almost close to getting that answer that we are looking for. To find theta 3, I'm going to use the gradient because theta is the angle of inclination for what? BC. So I need to say the tan of that theta 3, it will be the gradient of BC. And I think we do have the gradient of BC. We can see that the gradient of BC is 1 over 3. So I'm going to say that from the if statement, the gradient of BC is 1 over 3. This tells me that the tan of theta 3 is equals to 1 over 3. Therefore, what is theta 3 equal to? The tan inverse of that 1 over 3. So if this is the tan inverse of that 1 over 3, what's next? I am just going to punch that on the calculator. I'm going to say the tan inverse of that 1 over 3. You just have to follow the steps and you'll see that this is very easy. Let me see, this is equals to 18.43. So I'm going to write down that as 18.43 and I'm not going to round it off. So angle theta 3 is equal to 18.43 blah blah blah. And then now this is my 18.43 blah blah blah. Okay, how do we find alpha, the last part? So I'm going to say that in triangle C, okay, let's say O and C, in triangle O and C, alpha is equals to 180. We subtract the sum of those two angles, which is 108.43. We add that with 18.43 blah blah blah. Okay, so what is alpha equals to when you punch that on the calculator? So I still have that as the answer, the 18. So I'm just going to say 180 minus, then I'm going to minus that 108.43, 108.43 plus answer. That answer is the 18.43. Close the bracket, and this gives us the angle that they are looking for as 53.14 if we round it off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so alpha is 53.14. Guys, if you really like the strategy that I used on solving this, guys, I need to see your comments on the section. Tell me what you think about the strategy. If you have another way, just try to tell me what you the method that you think we can use. There is another method. There is definitely another method that you can use, but the one that I'm thinking about is a very, very long method. The one that I'm thinking about is a very long method, and I really don't want to talk about that method. Trust me, I don't want to talk about that method, but it's fine. Okay, so now the next question says that determine the equation of AC, and this is 2 marks. So looking at the question, where is AC? Oh, this is easy. We have everything on AC. We know the gradient of AC is 3. We can just substitute. You see, the gradient of AC is 3. And when they say determine the equation of AC, to answer this 2.2, we know that this should be in the form of Y is equals to mx plus c. So the gradient is just 3. It's given as 3. Then we can choose any point between C and A to substitute here. So I'm just going to substitute C, which has the coordinate -1 and -3. So this is my x, this is my y. Where there's y, I put -3. Where there's x, I put -1. The aim is to find C. So this is -3, it's equals to 3. Okay, it's -3, it's equal to -3 plus C. So if the -3 goes to the other side, that will be -3 plus 3, which gives us the value of C to be 0. And if the value of C is to be 0, what is the equation of AC? The equation of AC is Y is equal to 3x plus C, which is 0. So it's just 3x. That was easy. So now the next question they say, it is further given that the point D lies on AC is produced such that BC is perpendicular to BD. Okay, let me take this slow. It is further given that point D lies on AC. Let's go and make that. They say that this point D, it lies on this line AC. Okay, so D should be on that AC. I'm just gonna put it like that, right? So this is what we have. Okay, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. And then now they say that such that BC is perpendicular to BD. So we can see that this line BC. Okay, let me look at this. BC. Okay, my BC is perpendicular to BD, which is that part here. They are perpendicular. We can see that. All right. So now the question says, calculate the coordinates of D. Okay, let me explain this, how to find the coordinates of D. Look at this point here. This is what we call the point of contact, the point of intersection. How do we find the point of intersection in maths? We equate the equation of the two lines. So I need to find the equation of AC. Am I right? Yes, I need the equation of AC. I need to find the equation of AC, equate that to the equation of BD. Then after equating the equation of those two, I can just find the x value there, and then I can use one of the equation to find the corresponding y value. So now, when I look back to the previous questions, I know what is the equation of AC. That's 3x. So the equation of AC, I know that the equation of AC, that's 3x. I need to equate that with the equation of BD. Do we have the equation of BD? No. We need to first calculate the equation of BD. And then now they said that BD is perpendicular to BC. What do you know about lines that are perpendicular? What can you tell me about their gradients? So if two lines are perpendicular, the gradient of BC multiplied by the gradient of BD, they should give us -1. Okay, so now this tells me that what I'm going to do from this point, I have the gradient of BC. It was given as 1 over 3. So the gradient of BC is 1 over 3. We multiply that by BD, we get -1. So this tells you that in conclusion, the gradient of BD, it will be what? The gradient of BD is going to be 3 without is the reciprocal of 1 over 3. So the gradient of BD should just be -3. I hope you guys understand how we got that one. We just multiplied both sides by 3 to get rid of that 1 over 3. To get rid of that 1 over 3, you multiply both sides by that 1 over by 3. Let me also put that in writing. So we are multiplying this side by 3, this side by 3, so that we can get rid of that 1 over 3, and then we are left with BD, which is -3. So now that you have the gradient of BD, we are looking for the equation of BD. We can use B because this is the only point that we have on that BD, and we can use that point 11 and 1 to find the equation. So I'm going to work out on that question right now. Let me just do it down here. So I'm going to say that y is equals to mx plus c. Y is equal to, substitute the gradient plus c, then you choose point. We said we're going to substitute point B, which is 11 is to 1. Let me quickly confirm that is 11 and 1. So this is my x, this is my y. So from this equation, I'm going to have y as 1. It's equal to -3 into 11 plus c. Then 11 times 3, that's 11 times 3, that's 33, right? So it's going to be 33. This will be 1 is equal to -33 plus c. Therefore, what is c if you bring the 33 to the other side? The value of c is just 34. So now this gives us the equation of BD to be equals to -3x plus c, which is 34. -3x plus 34. So now you have the equation of BD. If you understand how we got the equation of BD, you just have to go and sub in this BD on that part that we were working on. We said the equation of A we sub in that with the equation of BD, which is 3x, it was minus 3x plus 34. Okay, let me just confirm minus 3x plus 34, that's correct. Then you solve for x. So the 3x goes to the other side. This will give us 6x. It's equal to 34. Divide both sides by 6. Divide by 6. Therefore, what is the x value of D? Remember, when you do the point of contact, when you are equating the two equations, this will give you the x value of D. So the x value of D, we just have to punch that on the calculator, see what is 34 divided by 6. This is 17 over 3. So I'm going to say x, that's 17 over 3. Then I need to find the corresponding y value. So it's up to you which equation you want to use. You can use any equation. If you use equation AC, we know that equation AC is 3x. Y is equal to 3x. Therefore, to find the y value will be y is equal to 3. Where there's x, we put that 17 over 3. And then you punch that on the calculator. But we can see that the 3 will cancel, which gives us y to be just 17. So the coordinates of D, will be 17 over 3 is to 17. 70. So now, before we enter this one, let's assume that maybe you prefer to use, remember we used equation C to find the corresponding y value. We can also use equation BD. So if you use equation BD, your y will be minus 3x plus 34. Then your y will be minus 3 into where there's x, I'm going to put that 17 over 3. Then what is that equals to? It's minus 3 into x, 17 over 3. Then we're going to add 34. Okay, looking at this, the 3 cancels. This leaves me with y is equals to minus 17 plus 34. I hope that it's 17. Please give me 17 so that I can end this one. We have minus 17 where we add 34. Please give me 17 now. So the y value is 17. So it's up to you which point you want to use, which gives us D to be 17 over 3. And the y value is just 17. Those are the coordinates of G. And that's how you answer this question. I think this was a very nice question. Yeah, I think this was a very nice one. And that's it for this one.